Well, those were the headlines we were tracking for you today. Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Megha Vishwanath, and with me is my colleague joining from Bengaluru, Mugdha Warrior. Straight to CNBC TV 18's exclusive, and let's start the show with that. The tax department has rejected the DPIIT's proposal for extending incorporation cutoff date for startup tax benefits. Remember, the DPIIT had sought an extension of the incorporation cutoff date by 5 years to the 31st of March 2026 for tax benefit under Section 80 IAC. My colleague Timsy Jaipuria joins us now with the details. Timsy, what are you picking up?
Well, the tax department seems to be in no mood to give any new exemptions, be it to any industry, until and unless it is seriously warranted. According to sources in a recent discussion between the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, or DPIIT, and the Revenue Department, the Income Tax Wing has rejected the proposal to extend the incorporation cutoff date for startups for tax benefits. Remember, startups incorporated between 1st April 2016 and 1st April 2021 are eligible for full deduction on startup profits and gains provided under Section 80 IAC of the Income Tax Act, and DPIIT was wanting that the tax department should consider extending this startup incorporation cutoff date by another 5 years to 31st March 2026 for Section 80 IAC tax benefits, as currently this window is expiring April next year. The proposal was to revise the definition of eligible startups for tax benefits under this particular section of the Income Tax Act, but Tax Department clearly told DPIIT that the government policy is to remove all income tax exemptions and reduce income tax rates. Under Section 80 IAC, tax benefits given to startups incorporated within this 5-year period was already given under Finance Act 2018, and thus any new extension cannot be given the fact that government has announced new corporate tax rates which provide benefits of lower taxes ever globally, and thus further extension of startups incorporation cutoff date for 5 years is not acceptable. Let's see whether other industries are also likely to hear this, because budget discussions have started. Back to you.
All right, Timsy, thank you so much for those important details. But moving on to another important story. Now, Karan Bajaj, who's the founder of EdTech startup White Hat Junior, which was recently, in fact, acquired by Byju's, has filed a defamation suit against Pradeep Punia, who has been, criticizing the EdTech company through his social media accounts on Twitter and YouTube. Now, Karan Bajaj has made several allegations against Pradeep Punia, and in fact the Delhi High Court today heard the matter. Now remember that we are still awaiting the final order copy of the Delhi High Court, so we don't have the order copy yet. But from both the parties, we understand that the Delhi High Court has asked and directed Pradeep Punia to take down some of his tweets and has restrained him from using the name White Hat Senior on YouTube, and has asked him also to take down one of his YouTube channels. Now we have with us Karan Bajaj, the CEO and founder of White Hat Junior. Karan, before I come to you, I just want to read out a statement that you have put out, that White Hat Junior has put out, in which you have talked about what the Delhi High Court has said. So according to the statement by White Hat Junior, the Delhi High Court has asked Punia to take down several defamatory posts and has restrained him from using White Hat Junior content obtained illegally by breaching its systems and assisting others in doing so. The injunction also bars Punia from hacking or unauthorizedly accessing the company's internal communication and the communication platform Slack. Now this is of course a summary of what the Delhi High Court said today. We are still, like I said, awaiting the final court order. This is what we understand from White Hat Junior. Karan, coming to you now, this is a 20 crore lawsuit that you've filed against Pradeep Punia. Firstly, tell us what led you to filing this suit, and is this amount the actual damage that was caused by Pradeep Punia's tweets and his content on YouTube?
The latter is correct. So we had calculated the damage and we had given the exact number without inflating it at all. So that's the number. But of course, the idea was not to get money. That's obviously not the driving motivator. I think the popular narrative that was constructed a little bit in social media over the last couple of months was that White Hat Junior was against dissent or criticism, which is actually not the truth at all. We've been criticized on marketing, we've changed it. We are we want fact-based constructive criticism. What had happened in the case of Mr. Punia was that the line between criticism and complete illegal, unethical behavior was being crossed, right? Where there was an attempt to breach into the company's servers. There were exhortation to take free classes offered by Whitehead Junior and defame the Whitehead Junior teachers using statements like they're housewives who are not trained at all, which is both like incorrect as well as very misogynist towards women. So we had taken the matter to the court, which we felt was illegal, right? Breaching into company systems, defaming comments against women teachers, exhorting 200, 300 people to take free classes and hack into the company servers. So we felt that was malevolent behavior. So we took it to the court, and the court gave its views about that today.
Okay. Karan, I wanted to ask you, since you've made a serious allegation that this particular individual has hacked into your internal communication network, why didn't you raise a cyber crime complaint?
We did. We followed the legal advice that was offered to us on what's the best way to approach that, because there were multiple instances. There was cybercrime. There was defamation against women teachers. So the combination of that, we felt that the best way to take it forward would be this.
But in fact, Karan, you seem to be, Whitehead Junior seems to be on a spree of filing lawsuits, because you've also now filed another suit against Anirudh Malpani, who is also a critic, who has been, talking about not just Whitehead Junior, in fact, also about Byju's on social media platforms. Tell us about this new suit now.
So that suit is under sub judice, but we are not on any spree at all. I think that's the extent of it. I think there've been 2 lawsuits which have been both filed together. And one is sub judice, so obviously I can't comment on it. The first one was heard by the court today, and they put a temporary injunction on all of the points that I mentioned about no longer defaming teachers, no longer doing any technical crime errors against the company, and exhorting people to do the same, right? So the court put an interim injunction against those today. And then tomorrow's lawsuit, we'll get to know what happens tomorrow.
But Karan, can this be seen as Whitehead Junior opposing any kind of criticism? We've seen reports suggesting that you've, made, former employees take down certain posts. You've taken down posts by customers themselves. And now, of course, those who are complaining about Whitehead Junior on social media, is your online reputation management team on kind of an overdrive against even the smallest of comments against the company?
Not at all. No, thank you. Thank you for the question. I think the narrative being framed or the narrative which is emerging is consistent with what you're saying. But the truth is very different. See, the criticism is very, very welcome, and it's very fact-based and constructive, right? So when people criticize the marketing campaign, I think within weeks, we constructed a new campaign, took the current campaign down, changed it. Whenever there's been any thoughts about customer complaint about not being happy with the service, again, we've responded overnight, right? As of now, for example, Whitehead Junior gives free refunds anytime you want to take it through the duration of the course with no time limit at all. We refund within the day when somebody asks for the refund, right? So we are very ethical about that and responding to complaints. But I think this crosses a boundary, if you will, a little bit, right? When you are going from a constructive criticism to calling to attacking a server of a company to try to get into the internal comm systems, cherry picking things from that comm that's not even yours to kind of create a narrative about the company, or calling teachers, very defamatory comments like housewives who are not trained. Those are not, they're not fact-based criticisms, right? These are crossing the line of being very malevolent. So, and very humanly damaging, right? Suppose a teacher is hearing these comments or a employee server is being hacked. I think you're getting into territory that is not legal. So our only, issue that we take is against illegal and unethical activity. But obviously we are, not we are probably
come to,
in the ecosystem, right? And we are looking at all the discussion and saying what we can do better.
Right. Karan, I want to come to this controversial character of Wolf Gupta, who now you have admitted in court that is a fictional character. But, this name has popped up in a lot of your advertisements, which tells parents that you can, get a job at Google, like Wolf Gupta, who is a character that you've portrayed in your ads. Now you're claiming that this is a misleading, this is a fictional character, which some of your critics as well were citing was a fictional character. So do you think that this could be misleading advertisement to parents?
6 months ago, or maybe I'm trying to get the dates completely right, but February or March, when the campaign was made live, right, on Facebook. Immediately after that, we took the campaign down. That was before any criticism or any complaint came from anywhere, right? Because I evaluated it, felt it was not correct, and we took it down. If you look at what's being circulated around, that's screenshots from 5 months ago. We didn't have to wait for anybody to tell us that the ad campaign was wrong, right? I took it down immediately after I found it was wrong.
But in fact, Karan, the Advertising Standards Council of India has asked you to remove some ads very recently, and which you have obliged to, right?
Correct. Yeah.
For misleading content.
Yeah, this one was without even the Advertising Council telling us. This was like removed months ago, right? So if we just take those screenshots, I think any startup, but I would say in our case, 6 months ago we were doing about 1,000 live classes a day. There were 6,000 students on the platform, 1,000 teachers. In the last 6 to 9 months, everything in the company has grown about 20 times, right? There are 11,000 teachers on the platform, more than 150,000 paying customers. On a given day, there are 40,000 live classes happening. In this very rapid period of scale up, you do make mistakes, right? And the moment we've seen that, I've corrected it very quickly, right? So people can keep taking those screenshots and keep circulating it and try to construct a narrative, but
so you're saying you made mistakes. Karan, you're saying you made mistakes. Now, on your LinkedIn post also, you have said that now you're changing some of your marketing strategies, etc. Going forward, will there be slightly more responsible ads? We have been seeing a lot of backlash also for your ads, which features Sundar Pichai or Satya Nadella, and gives an over-ambitious kind of a promise to parents. So will there be a change in your ads going forward?
So from 8 weeks, which was the first time all of this came, if you look at it, for the last 8 weeks, we have a completely different campaign, which is kind of celebrating the kids' creativity going on. So I would say we've already changed and we'll continue to make it better. That's what any ethical, responsible startup would do, right? They would do things quickly because speed is very critical to a startup, learned that there's something wrong in what they did, and work very hard to fix it, right? I have followed that exact cycle. So yes, I'm the first to admit that in this kind of rapid period of scale up, there were mistakes made, some governance that should have been set up in
you
terms
admit there were mistakes?
Of course, yeah. I admit.
All right, Karan. Karan, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Karan. Thank you so much for joining us. But moving on, we also have the defendant in this lawsuit. We have Pradeep Punia himself. Pradeep, if you can hear me, if you can quickly just introduce yourself to the viewers in terms of, what your background is and why you've taken up this cause against White Hat Junior.
Okay. Hello. So basically, in short, I'm an engineer from IIT BHU Varanasi, and I have background in software engineering from Cisco. I have worked in an edtech. So I thought that I do have the knowledge and experience to talk about this issue, because this company is an edtech and they are talking about technology and teaching such things to kids. Okay. I want to directly come to the point, just what Karan said, that 6 months ago only they launched this campaign.
Firstly, Pradeep, before you start, I do want to remind the viewers that there are certain injunctions by the court against you've been asked to take down certain tweets, etc. You've also been asked not to telecast anything derogatory about the teachers on the White Hat forum. So I would request you to respect those injunctions while you speak today. Please go ahead. Yeah.
But there's there's a clear proof that this kid was, I won't tell you what was in it, but there was a clear proof, and it's right in front of me, and I also shared it on my Twitter, that the kid never existed. One of the teachers once asked them on 29th of June 2019 that there was an ad in Facebook about a student, 13-year-old, becoming CEO of a face detection app.
Right.
One of my students is interested to see the app. Okay, do you have any idea how to check that? Ad was by Whitehead Junior. That's what they said. And the Karan Bajaj said, need to create that app now. And he shares a smiley. Then one employee says, Rajiv, I can create that app. I cannot create a 13-year-old to create that company around it, at least for now. And Karan Bajaj replies that we will. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. And this was 29th of June 2019.
Pradeep, like I have said, you please don't disclose information that you have accessed by yourself. That is what the court has said. In fact, the allegations against you, Pradeep, are that the allegations are that you have hacked into the systems. Can you tell us about how you have accessed this this internal
I never
communication?
hacked into any system. It's not that possible to hack into Slack. I'm not allowed to comment on such things right now. The case is in the court, but I never hacked into any system. Never.
Okay, so you're saying you haven't hacked in?
No, not at all.
But you've got you know what has been communicated in the Slack channels.
Yeah.
So currently, what are the steps that you've taken? Have you taken down those particular tweets and those URLs that the court has asked you to?
Yeah, they just asked me to take down 4 tweets, and I think a YouTube channel. I created 3 YouTube channels, one after another, because the question that I was raising was very simple one. That who is Wolf Gupta? That's what I was asking.
Okay.
And they were taking down my videos. I was just showing that their reviews on Google Play Store were fake. That's it. And they were taking down those videos even when the number of views on my videos was just like 13, 14, 15. That's it. And that's what made me suspicious.
Okay.
So,
All right,
long story short, I gave the channel to a kid, and the kid is teaching the whole coding thing from code.org, the same platform which Whitehead Junior is using. Now they don't want to take that channel down. They are scared of a 7-year-old kid.
Okay. Okay, all right, Pradeep. This matter, of course, is an ongoing one. The hearing also is scheduled for January. We will stay in touch with you and on top of this. But with that, Megha, over to you.
Well, thank you for all those details. We will have to quickly slip into a short break, but on the other side, we will be joined by Netcore CEO Kalpit Jain on the company's latest acquisitions and the deal of the day. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. Netcore Solutions, an intelligent customer engagement and communications platform, has today acquired Hansel.io, which is a real-time no-code product experience platform in an all-cash and stock deal. Joining us right now is the company and the group CEO, Kalpit Jain. Kalpit, thank you so much for speaking to us right here on Startup Street. You guys have been on an acquisition spree. I believe you've acquired 3 companies in the past 20 months, starting with Quinto.ai, which is a conversational AI platform, then Box.ai, which is again an omni-channel personalization and recommendation engine, and now, of course, Hansel.ai. So what's the game plan here?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show. So the game plan is very simple. Today, multiple brands are now focusing on improving customer experience, and that's kind of becoming the game-changing thing for a lot of companies. And the user attention span is only decreasing, as time is going by. With more and more apps coming, with more and more websites getting launched, the customer attention span is only decreasing. And over the last 18 months, one of our clear vision has been to create a very personalized and a contextual customer experience platform, which can help brands, do better engagement, do better conversions through all the users who are interacting with them on multiple digital properties. So with the series of these acquisitions, be it Quinto.ai, Box.ai, and with Hansel.io, the whole objective is to create a world-leading intelligent customer experience platform company today.
Okay. Speaking specifically about Hansel.io, since that is the deal that you have signed on today, how will their offerings add to what Netcore already has on offer?
Yeah, so Netcore has been primarily into customer engagement and communications platform, where we basically help customers, create life cycle journeys for their consumer. Brands create life cycle journeys for their consumers across multiple digital touch points. And now with Hansal's offering, what we're basically going to add is how do we improve the overall experience of the user when he's on the website or when he's on the app of most of these brands. With this real-time no-code platform which Hansal has, we are able to now create nudges, and people call it, the technical word is nudges or contextual throughs, which helps you now guide the user through different steps which the brand really wants the user to complete. It could be around user activation, it could be around user onboarding, it could be around helping the user to complete a purchase of a transaction which probably he might have not been completing, let's say, while he's on the app. So with Hansal, we are able to bring in this capability of helping brands create that unique in-app and in-web customer experience and guiding the user to achieve the final goal which the brand really wants him to do.
All right, Kalpit, thanks for sharing those details. Clearly, a customer's online experience is changing thanks to artificial intelligence, and we will keep an eye out for all your future acquisitions and the product you're looking to build eventually. Thanks a lot for speaking to us on Startup Street. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of the show, but don't go anywhere. We have more news and updates coming up for you on the other side. Stay tuned.